I am but a small goldfish, diligently cultivating my skills to repay a kindness, yet unexpectedly transformed into an inconspicuous figure in the entertainment industry. Faced with the exclusion from my contemporaneous female stars, I pouted in a state of grievance, on the verge of tears, only to forget the reason for my sorrow. Contemporary female stars. What a performance. If you wish to establish the persona of a delicate flower, at least shed a few tears for effect. During a romantic reality show, I participated in an underwater breath-holding contest, bursting with confidence, only to find myself dozing off mid-competition. Live stream audience. I wager it won't last more than 2 minutes. It cannot possibly extend beyond that. 10 minutes later, the water surface remains serene and undisturbed. I am a goldfish, one that has attained a semblance of intelligence. My companions often say that my simplicity grants me a certain fortune, for I frequently find myself in a state of stupor beside a millennia-old sea turtle, which has inadvertently imparted wisdom upon me. One fateful day, this grand turtle transformed into a human and ventured ashore. In my haste to follow, I accidentally became stranded. Just as I was on the brink of perishing from thirst, a young boy discovered me. He cradled me in his hands and gently returned me to the sea. With joy, I waved my tail at him and inquired, "What is your name? I shall repay your kindness once I take on human form." The boy, astonished, widened his eyes and opened his mouth, but hesitated. After I had swum quite a distance, he softly replied, "My name is Xie. 2. Our memories as goldfish are notoriously poor. There is a rumor that a fish's memory lasts only 7 seconds. While that may be somewhat exaggerated, I can distinctly recall events from 3 months past. Fearing that I might forget Xie once I achieved transformation, I etched his name upon the scales of my tail, ensuring that I would never forget him. Each day, I would drift in the ocean, awakening to gaze at the scales inscribed with his name. Thus, the years passed until I finally succeeded in taking on human form. Standing at the water's edge, I gazed at my reflection, nodding in satisfaction. It was quite pleasing. The name I had once inscribed upon my scales now resided at my ankle. Xie, how shall I ever find you? I stared into the vast ocean, engulfed by despair. Suddenly, the distant hum of a yacht drew nearer. Buzzing, buzzing. I lifted my gaze to see several men on the yacht looking our way. "Young Master Xie, look over there. A beautiful lady stands on the shore. Quite stunning indeed. Let us sail over and take a look." Xie casually glanced up and was immediately struck with awe. The girl on the shore, clad in a flowing white dress, had her skirt fluttering in the sea breeze, radiating beauty that stirred ripples in the heart. Xie snapped his fingers in the air, and the crewman at the helm understood instantly, accelerating towards the shore. 3. As the yacht approached the shore, Xie leapt to my side. "Beautiful lady, what is your name? Shall we get acquainted? I am a little goldfish. Xiao Jinyu? That is a lovely name." Xie extended his hand. "I am Xie. A pleasure to meet you." Hearing his name filled me with excitement, and I joyfully leapt into his embrace. "So you are Xie. At last, I have found you. Young Master Xie is truly impressive. Young Master Xie is remarkable. Just one word from him, and the beautiful lady is in his arms. How amazing." Friends who had descended from the yacht began to cheer. "Sure. Keep it low-key. We wouldn't want to scare the lady." Xie leaned down to ask, "Do we know each other?" I lifted my head from his embrace, revealing my lovely countenance, and innocently replied, "Yes, yes. You saved my life once." Xie scrutinized me again, clearly unsure if he had ever seen me before. It seemed this little beauty was a tad confused. Perhaps he should just play along. "Ah, it's you." My memory falters. "I didn't recognize you at first. It must be that you have grown even more beautiful." I blinked and said, "Indeed. I also think I appear quite lovely now." Xie, upon hearing this, became even more convinced that I was a charming but dim-witted beauty. Thus, I was taken away by Xie. I wondered if my presence brought him luck. Ever since I remained by his side, he seemed to acquire everything he desired. His father not only expelled his half-brother from the family home, but also elevated his mother's status. Consequently, Xie grew increasingly audacious. 4. Xie lounged on the sofa in the bar's private room, crossing his legs and basking in the flattery of others. "Young master, it seems you are on the brink of taking the helm of the Xie group. Do look after us brothers in the future. Indeed. I heard that Xie Zhou has not only been cast out, but has also had his intended match switched to you, young master. Upon hearing the name Xie Zhou, Xie Zhao slightly furrowed his brow. The sycophant beside him quickly intervened. On such a joyous occasion, why bring up Xie Zhou? Quickly, drink 3 cups as punishment for bringing him up. My apologies, young master. Please do not take offense. Xie Zhao scoffed, responding with a tone dripping with sarcasm. What do I have to be angry about? Xie Zhou isn't even worthy of tying my shoes. Young master is absolutely right. Let us raise a toast to young master. To young master. After finishing his drink, one person curiously inquired, Young master, why isn't Xiao Jinyu with you today? Isn't she usually by your side? Before Xie Zhao could respond, someone interjected, How can that woman compare to the young lady of the Su family? Young master is about to be engaged to Miss Su. Keeping Xiao Jinyu around would only cause trouble for the Su family. So that was the case. Young master's considerations are indeed thorough. The underlings were impressed. Xie Zhao, flattered, beamed with pride. Indeed, that woman only has beauty and a decent figure, but is lacking in every other regard. How could she ever compare to Su Qing? Initially, Xie Zhao had held some affection for Xiao Jinyu, but men, after all, are prone to fickleness. In the face of profit, women are easily cast aside. Moreover, Xie Zhao relished the idea of taking what Xie Zhou had. What was taken was always the most valuable. 5. Xie Zhao. Why aren't you answering my calls? Unable to reach Xie Zhao, I had no choice but to come to the bar. Xie Zhao responded curtly, What are you doing here? I told you I was busy. Cautiously, I approached him and sat down, wrapping my arm around his. I was worried about you, since you haven't been answering my calls. Xie Zhao, somewhat irritated, shook off my hand. I'm a grown adult. What is there to worry about? I was about to explain when a round of applause interrupted us. Young master is so fortunate. I've long heard of the beauty by his side. Seeing is indeed believing. Suddenly, Su Qing appeared, having entered without my notice. Upon seeing her, Xie Zhao promptly rose and approached. Qing, what brings you here? What? She can come, but I cannot? Su Qing retorted, her expression darkening. You cannot compare. She is merely a passing fancy, whereas you are the one I intend to marry. Humph. You should be aware that regardless of how many flings you have had, you best resolve them all before our engagement, or I shall not be so gracious. Xie Zhao gently embraced Su Qing's slender waist, whispering soothingly, You're being unfair. I've already ended things with her. It's she who keeps clinging to me. You can ask everyone. Yes. I can vouch for young master. It's Xiao Jinyu who has been persistently pursuing him. I can attest to that too. Me too. See? I'm not lying, am I? Xie Zhao playfully pinched Su Qing's waist. Su Qing shot him a coy glare before pushing him away and striding towards me. She raised her hand and delivered a resounding slap to my face. 6. I covered my reddened cheek, innocently asking, Why did you hit me? I hit you because I wanted to. What reason do I need? You, this shameless woman, have been clinging to Zhao. I vigorously shook my head. No. I haven't been clinging to Xie Zhao. He's the one who wanted me to stay by his side. Oh? Su Qing turned to glare at Xie Zhao. He quickly stepped forward. Xiao Jinyu, what nonsense are you spouting? When did I ever say I wanted you to stay by my side? It was that day. By the seaside. I had not finished my words when Xie Zhao struck me with a resounding slap. Crack. The other side of my face swelled up as well. Shut your mouth. I will say this one last time. Keep your distance from me, and do not let me see you again. I was left dazed by Xie Zhao's blow. Being human is no good at all. I am always being hit, and my face aches terribly. So you no longer require my gratitude, do you? No need. We are even. Do not come looking for me again. Xie Zhao responded carelessly, eager to dismiss me, determined not to jeopardize his engagement with Su Qing. Fine, I understand. I began to reminisce about my carefree life in the water. Just as I stood up, Su impressed me down. These are all gifts from Zhao. Take them off for me. Without waiting for me to comply, Su Qing violently yanked off my earrings, necklace, and bracelets. That hurts. And the shoes, take them off too. I lifted my tear-streaked face, pleading with Xie Zhao. Can I keep my shoes on? Swing. Gripping my hair, roughly kicked my shoes off with her foot. You little hussy, still trying to seduce others. utterly shameless.
Crash.
The wine bottles and glasses on the table were sent crashing to the ground, shattering into shards.
Get out.
If you don't leave, don't blame me for stripping you of your clothes. My feet, transformed from tails, were exceedingly delicate. I stepped onto the ground littered with glass shards, and blood immediately oozed out. It hurt terribly. Enduring the excruciating pain, I staggered toward the door. Cold sweat dripped down my forehead. The men in the room could no longer bear to watch and turned their gazes elsewhere. It was not that they did not wish to intercede. They simply could not afford to offend the daughter of the Sioux family. Upon seeing the delicate feet of the little goldfish, nearly shredded by the glass, with his name etched on her ankle, Xie Zhiao felt an undeniable pang of sympathy. After all, she had been by his side for quite some time and had always been obedient to him. However, before he could utter a word, Su Qing began her taunting. What's wrong? Are you feeling sorry for her? If you plead for her, I might let her go. Xie Zhiao's eyes lit up in disbelief. Really? Of course. But our family's engagement would naturally be off. I cannot disrupt the affection between you two. The light in Xie Zhiao's eyes flickered out. He wrapped his arm around Su Qing and sat on the sofa, ignoring me completely. The previously subdued revelry in the room surged back to life, the clinking of glasses ringing out. Yet, I could hear nothing but the throbbing pain in my feet. At last, I reached the doorway, shutting out all the clamor behind me. Ma'am, do you need assistance in calling an ambulance? A concerned staff member in the hallway approached me. I shook my head. No. Thank you. I had only just transformed and possessed little spiritual energy as it was. In fulfilling Xie Zhiao's wishes, I had nearly exhausted it all. The scant energy remaining was barely enough to maintain my human form. I could feel my spiritual energy dissipating through the wounds on my feet. I was on the verge of reverting to my true form. I must hurry, I urged myself. I remembered there was a river not far from the bar. I had to find it before returning to my original state, otherwise I would perish. I flung open the bar's door, disregarding the agony in my feet, and ran with all my might. At last, I spotted the river in the distance. I smiled as I dashed toward it, only to stumble over a rock beneath my feet. The sharp stone pierced my ankle, scratching away Xie Zhiao's name. I had no strength left to rise. I could only grasp the ground tightly with my hands, crawling forward bit by bit. Almost there, I thought, I would never become human again after returning to the river. Being human always meant suffering blows. It hurt so much. It is far better to be a fish, swimming freely in the river every day. Yet, I ultimately failed to reach the river. Just a meter away from the bank, I closed my eyes forever. My body grew increasingly hazy. In the end, all that remained by the riverbank was the lifeless body of a little goldfish, its tail shredded. This time, no one would come to return it to the water. So comfortable to be floating in the water. Wait, hadn't I already died? I abruptly opened my eyes, finding myself lying in a massive bathtub. I quickly sat up. The long-lost oxygen filled my lungs once more. Barefoot, I stepped out of the tub and stared in shock at the reflection in the mirror. The person staring back bore a striking resemblance to my transformed self. As I stood there in a daze, countless fragments of memories flashed through my mind. Why does everyone bully me? I am truly on the brink of collapse. The original owner of this body lay in the bathtub, drowning herself in drink, lamenting her sorrows. Ultimately, she became intoxicated and slipped beneath the water, drowning. Mere minutes after she lost consciousness, I had crossed over.
Bang! Bang! Bang!
A fierce knocking on the door interrupted my reverie. Xiao Jinyu, open the door. It turned out this woman shared my name.
Bang! Bang! Bang!
The knocking grew, increasingly insistent. I quickly wrapped myself in a towel and rushed to open the door. What's taking you so long? My manager, Sisterly, strode in with frustration. Are you in the mood for a bath? Haven't seen the trending news? You're finally famous, albeit infamously. Forget it, you wouldn't understand. Infamy is still fame. This is a popular dating reality show. Familiarize yourself with the rules and prepare. We start recording next week. I'll come to pick you up. Just be yourself and play the supporting role. After saying this, Sisterly hurriedly left. I opened my phone and finally understood what Sisterly meant by infamy. It turned out that Xiao Jinyu's fashion choices had been photographed and posted online. The internet was rife with criticism. People mentioned how Xiao Jinyu shared some resemblance with a little goldfish, which was not unappealing. However, Xiao Jinyu favored smoky eye makeup and wore quite eccentric outfits, which concealed her inherent advantages. This had resulted in her possessing commendable abilities, yet remaining relatively obscure. Sister Lee managed many artists and had not paid her much attention. Little did I expect that this misfortune would lead to a blessing. This dating show primarily aimed to promote a new rising star in our company, portraying a pure and innocent image. Xiao Jinyu would participate, but they needed a supporting character. Coincidentally, now that Xiao Jinyu was trending, she could join the dating show as the innocent backdrop. I pondered for a moment before accepting my current identity. Although I did not wish to be human anymore, being a person was still preferable to being a dead fish. I closed my eyes and felt a trace of my former spiritual energy within this new body. A satisfied smile crept onto my face. It appeared that my spiritual energy had followed me here, albeit in a minuscule amount. Yet I believed that with practice it would grow stronger. At the very least, this bit of energy would allow me to maintain my previous aquatic skills. Remaining submerged for an hour would pose no issue. You can rest easy. I will live well on your behalf, I whispered in my heart. After saying this, I felt significantly lighter. From now on, I would live as the true human Xiao Jinyu. When I awoke in the morning and completed my grooming, I obediently settled on the sofa to wait for Sister Lee.
Bang, bang, bang.
The knocking sounded again. Have you packed your bags? It's time to set off. Sister Lee remains as spirited as ever.
Huh.
Why does your makeup look so peculiar today? Never mind, it is what it is. After all, you are merely a supporting character. I nodded obediently and replied, yes. I'll follow Sister Lee's lead. Have you taken the wrong medication today? You're behaving so sensibly. If you maintain this demeanor, your fortunate days lie ahead. Sister Lee grabbed my luggage and strode out first. I hurriedly jogged to keep up. During the filming of the dating reality show, assistants are not allowed. So, if you need anything, just call me. I will certainly assist where I can. If I cannot, you'll have to figure it out yourself. Upon arriving at the filming location, Sister Lee tossed my luggage onto the ground. She slammed the car door and sped away. I stood behind the rapidly departing vehicle, my hair tousled by the exhaust. Excuse me, are you Miss Xiao Jinyu? I turned around and smiled at the person behind me, saying, yes, I am Xiao Jinyu. The staff member, upon seeing my face, instinctively took a step back. Please follow me. I followed the staff member to our residence during the filming of the show. Please take a seat on the sofa and wait. We can only assign rooms once everyone has arrived. I nodded in understanding. All right. Sister Lee mentioned that my status was the lowest, hence I needed to arrive early. As expected, I was indeed the first to arrive. Before long, the female guests arrived one after another. He Jiao Jiao, a recently popular screenwriter of short dramas. Shen Weiwei, the champion of the swimming championships. Zhang Xiaoxue, a rising young actress who suddenly gained fame for her pure and innocent looks, is also here to serve as my backdrop. Next came the male guests, Ji Weidong, a seasoned martial arts actor. Qi Zihao, the son of a CEO. Xie Yunheng, a renowned actor nominated for Best Actor 3 times. Lastly, Xie Zhizhou, originally the heir of the Xie family, who was later cast out and rose to fame by establishing a new company through his own efforts. Once everyone gathered, we briefly introduced our names, ages, and professions. It was time to assign rooms. The male guests would stay in 2 rooms downstairs, while the female guests would occupy 2 rooms upstairs. We will adopt a fair and impartial method. Everyone come forward to draw lots. The director cheerfully beckoned everyone over. The cameraman had already begun recording, and to preserve the authenticity of the show, the filming would be conducted in a live format without any editing. Thus, from the moment I stepped into this villa, the love reality show officially commenced. The results of the draw were announced. I was paired with Shen Weiwei in one room. Shen Weiwei displayed a look of dissatisfaction and muttered, "What bad luck." At that moment, Zhang Xiaoxue stepped forward and linked her arm with Shen Weiwei's, saying, "Weiwei, let us switch rooms. After all, I am from the same agency as Sister Xiao, and we can look out for each other." Shen Weiwei immediately brightened, eager to agree. Then, recalling that we were currently live, she suppressed her rising smile with effort. "Isn't that a bit inappropriate? Would the director even agree?" "What's wrong with that? I'll go speak with the director." The two began to negotiate without considering my willingness. "Sister Xiao, the director said if both parties consent, we can switch rooms. Would you be willing to share a room with me?" Shun Weiwei rushed over to ask. With my panda eyes glaring, I replied coolly, fine, I have no objections. Who is this woman? Her makeup makes her look like a panda, and she's rather arrogant. Yes, yes, our little Xiaoxue is the kind-hearted one. Indeed. Did you not see the color drain from Shun Weiwei's face upon realizing she had to share a room with her? Support Xiaoxue. She is the kindest. This unexpected scene sparked a flurry of criticisms from the live audience. The director stroked his non-existent beard, revealing a satisfied smile. Among the male guests, Qi Zihao and Xie Zhizhou shared a room, while Ji Weidong and Xie Yunheng were paired together. After the room assignments, everyone returned to unpack their luggage. Lunch was a simple meal provided by the production team, and filming for outdoor activities began in the afternoon. The male and female guests drew lots again for random pairing. I was grouped with Xie Zhizhou. To be honest, I have developed a bit of a reflexive aversion to anyone with the surname Xie. The four groups began searching for the hidden food cards, which would determine our dinner options. As soon as I transformed, I was found by Xie Zhizhou, who arranged for me to stay at his apartment. Thus, I possess no human living skills. The original Xiao Jinyu was also somewhat of a life novice. But she was better than me. At least she could boil instant noodles. I trailed behind Xie Zhizhou in silence. He, too, was a man of few words. Consequently, what the audience witnessed was the sight of two mutes walking in silence. Is this Xiao Jinyu an idiot? She can't do anything. She can't even walk properly? It's bad enough to be unattractive, but to be so lazy is truly disgusting. Well, having been human for so long, I still struggle to adapt to walking on two legs. I tend to trip easily on uneven paths. On the third occasion when I stumbled and fell into Xie Zhizhou's arms, the live stream erupted in chaos. I get it. She's a white lotus trying to latch onto Xie. Xie, push her away. Push her away. Push her away. To everyone's disappointment, Xie Zhizhou, after being repeatedly bumped into, still said to me, be careful. I no longer found Xie Zhizhou unappealing. After all, he was rather nice. Thanks to Xie Zhizhou, we enjoyed a sumptuous dinner that night. Yes, dinner was also prepared by Xie Zhizhou. Just one day had passed, and Xie Zhizhou's favorability soared to the top. Ji Weidong, although physically fit, was not attentive enough to He Jiao Jiao. Qi Zihao and Jiang Xiaoxue had a harmonious start, but by the latter half, Jiang Xiaoxue's forced smiles in response to Qi Zihao's self-importance were evident. Xie Yunheng appeared amiable on the surface, but lacked stamina, relying largely on Shun Weiwei to find food cards. When the male and female guests voted for their crushes that night, Xie Zhizhou surprisingly received 3 votes. The missing vote was mine. My heart races for anyone, so I truly didn't know whom to vote for, and ended up not voting at all. I was not particularly disheartened. After all, I was here to serve as a backdrop. Jiang Xiaoxue received only 1 vote from Qi Zihao, yet she did not seem pleased. Xiao Jinyu, know your place and stop getting too close to Xie Zhizhou. Jiang Xiaoxue warned me fiercely before bed. I felt so wronged. It was merely the result of a random draw, wasn't it? The next day, only those who mutually selected each other could successfully form a team. The rest would still rely on drawing lots. By sheer coincidence, I was grouped with Xie Zhizhou again. Today's competition involved underwater breath holding, with rewards increasing the longer one stays submerged. Each group selected individuals who were good swimmers or had excellent physical fitness. When it was our turn, I eagerly raised my hand.
I'll go.
Without waiting for Xie Zhizhou to refuse, I shed my outerwear, donned a revealing swimsuit, and plunged headfirst into the sea.
Cough. Cough.
Honestly speaking, Xiao Jinyu is indeed quite remarkable. I concur. Jiang Xiaoxue's swimsuit does give her a somewhat childish appearance. Jiang Xiaoxue stomped her foot angrily as she glanced at the subtitles on her phone. Xiao Jinyu, just wait. I want to let you off for stealing my spotlight. 2 minutes later, Qi Zihao surfaced. 3 minutes later, Ji Weidong could no longer hold his breath and emerged. 5 minutes later, Shun Weiwei confidently floated to the surface. Meanwhile, I remained underwater, lost in thought. Why is Xiao Jinyu still at the bottom? Her ability to hold her breath was astonishing. What on earth? The information I just consulted indicated that her swimming skills were rather lacking. Oh no. Could something unfortunate have occurred? Although I harbor no fondness for her, the value of human life is paramount. Director, please send someone down to investigate. Hurry, go check. The screen flickered, once more. Everyone was fixated on the water's surface. 10 minutes later, just as the director was about to instruct someone to dive in, a splash echoed. Without even removing his coat, Xie Zhizhou leaped into the water. I had been submerged for an indeterminate duration, solely focused on winning the competition to indulge in a lavish feast. Suddenly, a shadow loomed before me, startling me. Xie Zhizhou, unaware of the chilly embrace of the sea, experienced a cramp in his leg the moment he plunged in. The pain forced him to gasp, swallowing several mouthfuls of seawater. As his brain grew increasingly deprived of oxygen, he felt utterly miserable. At that moment, my face loomed larger in his vision. Then his lips relaxed, and an influx of oxygen filled his mouth. Instantly, his cheeks flushed crimson, and his eyes widened in disbelief as he gazed at me. I supported Xie Zhizhou with one hand and swiftly swam towards the shore. The scene that unfolded before everyone was that of Xie Zhizhou, face ablaze, seated on the ground. Coughing violently, I, completely unscathed, draped my coat around my shoulders. What was happening? The rescuer had become the rescued? Xiaojin, you certainly possessed remarkable swimming skills. And how had she suddenly become so captivating? I declare, I am now a convert from detractor to admirer.
So am I.
Sister Xiao, you're amazing. The live stream erupted in enthusiasm. I touched my cheek and realized that my prolonged immersion in water had washed away my smoky makeup. As my vitality gradually returned, my appearance began to resemble my transformed self more closely. Jiang Xiaoshue's gaze upon seeing my current visage was akin to one laced with venom. During the subsequent recording of the program, due to my unforeseen rise to prominence, all 4 male guests cast their votes for me. Jiang Xiaoshue continually sought to undermine me. Each time I faced adversity, Xie Zhizhou treated me with even greater kindness. I have finally grasped the essence of being spoiled by affection. In the past, when I cried due to being targeted, netizens would merely accuse me of feigning. Now, if I were to shed tears, netizens would only extol me as a divine being weeping. After participating in the variety show, my popularity surpassed that of Jiang Xiaoshue, and the company began to promote me. I now had a dedicated assistant, and Sisterly also began to look after me. Sisterly remarked that foolish people possess their own sort of fortune. My emotional intelligence might be lacking, but thankfully, I had a pleasing appearance. The company hosted a gala, and I attended in a formal gown. I had no desire to drink, yet Sisterly insisted that to achieve fame, I must partake. I downed one glass after another, even accidentally consuming a drink that Jiang Xiaoshue handed me. Before long, I felt lightheaded and flushed all over. Oh no, I might be in trouble. Jiang Xiaoshue forcefully pulled me toward an old, unattractive man. Fortunately, Xie Zhizhou arrived just in time. Miss Jiang, please entrust Jinyu to me. Jiang Xiaoshue, begrudgingly yielding to Xie Zhizhou's assertiveness, pushed me toward him. He enveloped me in his arms, shielding me from all prying eyes, and swiftly led me to his car. Jinyu, where do you live? I'll take you home. I felt unbearably hot and uncomfortable, unable to comprehend what Xie Zhizhou was saying. Ultimately, he had no choice but to take me to his home. My body was aflame, and I kept pressing against him. Jinyu, be good, don't fidget. He attempted to guide me to the kitchen for water, but I clung to him, making it impossible for him to move. I was parched, incessantly searching for a source of hydration. Finally, I found a soft, sweet spot to kiss, relentlessly siphoning the moisture. Xie Zhizhou insisted on competing with me, and we ended up testing our strength against one another. Annoyingly, he ultimately claimed all the water from my mouth. In a fit of anger, I bit down on his neck, causing him to inhale sharply. In retaliation, he began to nibble on me all over. After a night passed, my entire body ached as if it had been trampled. Xie Zhizhou held me close and assured me he would treat me well, whether he truly would or not. As long as he refrained from biting me like last night, I would be content, for it had been rather painful. I married Xie Zhizhou. At the peak of my fame, I chose to step away from the limelight. There was no other option. I was expecting little fish. Embracing a life of leisure was quite pleasant, filled with nothing but eating and sleeping. Xie Zhizhou's company flourished. I heard that the Xie family had been squandered by Xie Zhiyao. The fiancé they had arranged for him had also run off with someone else. The head of the Xie family returned to seek Xie Zhizhou, but was turned away at the door. One day, Xie Zhizhou and I went to the mall to buy clothes for our baby. Suddenly, Xie Zhiyao rushed over. Xie Zhizhou, I will kill you. It's all your fault that I've become like this. Why do you get to live so well? With a swift kick, Xie Zhizhou sent Xie Zhiao sprawling to the ground. If you've contracted rabies, go to the hospital for treatment. Don't wander around biting people. Xie Zhiao glared fiercely at Xie Zhizhou, accidentally catching sight of me. Xiao Jinyu? What are you doing here? I've been searching for you for ages. I regret it. You were the best to me. Will you come back to my side? Xie Zhizhou stepped in front of me protectively. I don't know you. You must have mistaken me for someone else. Xie Zhiao's name rang a bell, yet I could not recall his face. He suddenly shoved Xie Zhizhou aside, frantically grasping my ankle. How could you have disappeared? Why is my name no longer on your ankle? Xie Zhizhou finally could not hold back any longer and hurled Xie Zhiao far away. Keep acting crazy, and I won't hesitate to send you to a mental institution. Xie Zhizhou escorted me home. He spoke to me at length, sharing memories of his childhood. He recounted how his father was often absent, leaving his mother in tears. Eventually, his mother passed away, and Xie Zhiao and his mother moved in. His father treated him increasingly poorly, even sending him to live with his grandmother. One day, he rescued a small goldfish by the riverbank, which spoke to him, asking for his name. He replied that he was called Xie Zhiao. He truly was once named Xie Zhiao. However, his father's mistress forcibly took that name for her son, leading him to adopt the name Xie Zhizhou. Xie Zhizhou remarked that I resembled that little goldfish, both of us somewhat foolish. I grew increasingly drowsy, gradually drifting off to sleep amidst Xie Zhizhou's reminiscences. It had been ages since I had transformed into a human, and I could scarcely recall the events of my time as a fish. I cherished my present life. Xie Zhizhou treated me with great kindness, and my only grievance was his incessant biting. Thankfully, after the arrival of our little fish, he ceased that behavior. Thus, I shall forgive him, for I am a kind-hearted little goldfish after all.
The end.
Thank you for listening, and I look forward to our next story together.